Ready. Hang on. I'll let you hear it as well, just for a little bit. I just gotta get my finger under there to get a good grip. Oh no, shit.
I don't know, it sounded quite good on this side.
Alright. Hey everyone. Welcome to the podcast for Lad Pack. This is the, we've been thinking about this for a while. We thought, quarantine and all, why not try it? Perfect time, perfect thing to do remotely is a podcast. We've got some beverages and we're ready to go. So, we're going to be talking about basically just gaming and the gaming industry. We're going to just see where the night takes us. Also, the gameplay in the background is just for visuals. We thought GTA, don't need to pay attention on it. You can just do whatever. We're starting in Harry's lovely penthouse. And then maybe we'll go for a drive later. If you want to be here just to watch the gameplay while you hear our mindless voices chatter, that is perfectly fine. Yeah. So, yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Waffle time.
Over to you, Harry. You want to start or you want me to start?
Well, I mean, I suppose, first of all, I just want to say, obviously, over the Lab Pack, we always show, like, the lightheartedness and the fun side of gaming, which we love and we appreciate. But we do sometimes have these, not serious, but these debates on our thoughts on this sort of gaming industry.
Yeah, and we get passionate.
Yeah, because it is something we're passionate about. It is something we care about.
It is.
And I suppose, ironically, we're currently playing a game that has had a bit of controversial kind of thing around it.
GTA is checkered, isn't it?
Yeah, but mainly, I'll start with the subject. Mainly because of, what's the expression, like, what's the word, like, how much they want money from their users.
Yeah.
GTA 5 has been out for God knows how many years now. It came out in 2013, I believe, and it's still one of the top selling games in the gaming industry, and that's purely because of GTA Online. Yeah, because
the
people are
replay
still buying shark cards, etc.
Yeah, they have nailed the replayability.
Yeah, they have 100%, which is a good thing, and it clearly works because we're still playing it now. But they've definitely, I don't know, like, there's a difference between a game like this, and don't get me wrong, they're like worlds apart, but there's a difference between a game like this, where you literally sort of have to not have a social life to even get a remote amount of
it's quite a grinding
good
game.
money to buy good stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like, we recently did the Top Gear video to prove that you can buy cheap cars and still get everywhere around the map.
And have a ton of fun.
Nowadays, exactly. And nowadays, there's just
everyone's on oppressors,
so
aren't
many
they?
Vehicles.
Yeah,
that are like $1 million,
Flying
$2
bikes.
million dollars, and that's ridiculous to try and get that in GTA Online sometimes. So that leads people sometimes down the route of buying shark cards, leading to Rockstar making more money.
But you know what? To just like circle in on that point is that it is true. Like, we talk about GTA being controversial, not just because of the themes in it and whatnot, but plenty of games have like stuff. It's just artistic choice, but to do with the shark cards and money gaining. If you think about it, we say, they make it grindy on purpose and stuff, and then makes you want to buy the shark cards to avoid going mad. But if you think about it, they've done that so well because they've basically made a brilliant game, spent tons of money, time, and like love putting into this game so that people enjoy it, and then they make it so that you want to spend money on these things, but you don't have to. Now, and people may say, it's a scummy thing to do to to like make things more difficult in the game so that you have to spend what you want to spend money. But think about how so many other games today make you spend money through loot crates and like what is essentially classed as like low-key gambling, and has been outlawed in certain countries now. And GTA, what they've done is they've just gone and made a great game and gone, here, if you want the game to be easier, give us more money. And people go, all right.
Yeah, no, that is fair enough. Yeah, and I mean, I suppose out of all the examples, GTA isn't the worst.
Yeah.
I was just sort of beginning with it because obviously we're.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't countering your point. No, I was.
But no, I think that's very true, and I think that is what like gets to us the most. There's people that grew up in what we class as the golden age of gaming. We grew up on that through Xbox 360. And
oh man, we could go on for hours.
You know, back in 360.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was literally no. I don't know really where it fucking came from, but there was literally like no. There was no vision for loot boxes and shit like that.
No, people just wanted to make good games.
Yeah, all of a sudden in the last like 4 or 5 years, I'd say. Like, I don't know what the first game was to do it. It was maybe even Fortnite. I don't know if that's.
There's probably a game lesser well known that tried it first.
Perhaps.
that
but
wasn't
I feel like
talked about.
Fortnite did that new thing that a lot of things are doing now, where the game's free. Well, actually, no. I'll tell you where it started.
Yeah.
Phone apps.
Oh yeah, phone games. Oh, do you know? Don't get me started on phone games because I don't and sorry if anyone listening gets offended by this. I won't. I'll try and be nice. I don't consider people that only play video games on phones, and maybe if it's like something like Minecraft and you paid 5-10 quid for it on your phone and you got a good phone that can run it, maybe you can get off there. But I don't like some people who only play games on their phones. They call themselves gamers, right? And I disagree with that because I wouldn't call a chess player a gamer. It's kind of controversial thought, but it's not that controversial because no one really cares that much.
Oh yeah.
But honestly,
I'd agree. To be fair,
and
it's literally just passing the time, if you get what I mean.
Exactly.
At one point, when iPhones first came out, I'm pretty sure everyone had a game on their phone.
Exactly.
And not everyone in the world is a gamer, are they?
But I'm going off track. I'm going off track a bit there. But
pull back.
So what I was gonna say in addition to that is that despite that, I still like to play games on my phone when I've got downtime, I'm in bed, I'm on the bus. I like to play the games I like to play on my phone. I like to play easy gratification games. But the problem is, obviously, a lot of phone games are free, and rightly so. And there's a lot of good games on phones which are paid for, and usually they don't give you any crap about ads and paid for stuff. But like, you have all these free phone games, and I know they've got to make money somehow. But you have all these free phone games which will just they'll be fun and they'll be deliberately addictive, and they'll just throw ads in your face all the time, and then they'll throw constant like, if you pay for this, we'll remove the ads, and then if you buy this, there you go. It's things like Clash of Clans and other. You get so many clones of those games where you get like a castle and you can or a fort, depending on what kind of genre it is, and you can make troops to invade other castles. And the whole thing about that is it takes ages to do anything, and the way you speed it up is you give them money.
Exactly. I'll tell you something. I never used to play those type of games on my phone or whatnot when they were quite big, just because it's not really my cup of tea. But I downloaded the Harry Potter game when it first came out.
Oh, the Harry Potter Go one.
No. It was the one before that called Hogwarts Adventure or something. and it was basically like you made your own character, and it was actually sick. Like it started off so good, and you went on your own adventure, and
It did
you
look
had
pretty
year
cool.
1, 2, 3, yeah, and
Yeah.
so on. But it was, you know, those games where like you click and move. So like you click the door and then you go into that door.
They're
So,
like,
you can
point
control it.
and click adventure games, kind of.
Point and click adventure games. It was basically one of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when you were doing like a challenge or something, you could only have a certain amount of moves, and then
Right.
basically your
Oh,
energy
and-
bar.
Yeah.
And then you had to wait either like bloody 18 real life hours, like
Yep.
real life hours,
Yep.
or you pay money to get the energy bar back up. And like, I thought, what the fuck is this? So I had a little look. Mate, the prices of the energy
I know, man.
bars
It's
were
ridiculous.
like, it was piss take.
And it's
So
the classic
that was
thing.
the first
Yeah.
experience of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that again was exploited because little kids would be buying stuff on iPads.
Mate, do you know what? I was one of those little kids.
And then like
Yeah.
it would be their parents' thing. They'd get the password off their parents. Like nowadays, it's really not that difficult to do that. And they're just buy
Especially if
shit,
you're a
'cause
smart
when
kid.
you're a kid. Yeah, exactly. When you're a kid,
You just
like,
think
you
mummy
think
and
it
daddy
literally does
have
grow
all
off
the money
trees.
in the world. Yeah. They're loaded. Look
Exactly.
At
So
look at our house.
anything,
Yeah.
that situation. Yeah. And then even if the parents were to complain about it, they probably just would straight up refuse a refund because it would be in the terms and conditions.
Oh yeah,
They
man.
don't accept
Yeah.
refunds. Or
They're-
it would just take ages to refund them.
Games
They'd
like
piss about with
Fortnite
it.
are there for kids. The company of Fortnite, they engineer it so that they use their kids, the kids that play it as like basically almost employees that are trained to steal their parents' money for them. It's
Literally,
crazy.
it was and I feel like because that's been going on for years, like since you and me were in the golden age of of console gaming.
Yeah.
That mobile in-game purchases was a thing.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like looking at it now, I've never actually like noticed it before, but looking at it now, it almost felt like it was only a matter of time before the big corporate companies. And don't get me wrong, I don't believe it's ever the people in the offices that go in and code the games and have a passion for story.
No, they
and things like
just
that.
get paid. Yeah, it's a competitive.
Yeah, and they've got a passion for what they do. It's the people that know fuck all about gaming.
Yeah,
And are
it's
literally
the
there
CEOs,
as
the
money
boards.
investors.
Yeah.
The CEOs, and they're there and they're like, hang on a minute, these mobile game companies have been making a shit ton.
Exactly.
We're missing. We're stupid. We're missing out here.
Well,
So then they started doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because my cousin, I think he still is, but he, I think, definitely was and might still be a programmer, like a game designer, and and like just from him, and also you would know as well, just because we've been around the block a couple of times we kind of are quite plugged into the gaming industry. Like I kind of have at least a light grasp of how competitive it is for programmers and game designers that are just there to be employed to make games because they can't they don't have the money to do it themselves, and support themselves. It's crazy because they like big companies that, not saying Rockstar is bad for these people, but big companies like Rockstar, EA would be one of them, which are even bigger, and they're, as we all know, they're evil. It can be bad because they, if the game designers don't like what's happening, that's too bad. And also
Exactly.
big companies like EA, they can just pull a plug on the development of a game, and then that's it, that's over for the game designers. And that can happen to us
100%.
in movies as well. In the movie industry, it can happen to us, you and me.
And I think, the only thing I will ask, like going with the point of what we've been talking about,
Sure.
is that obviously the console gaming industry is way bigger than the mobile gaming industry, and it always will be,
Of course,
and always has been.
Mind you,
And
money-wise it is, I think, but because it's so easy, I think there might be way more or almost just as many mobile gamers as there are console gamers. They just invest way less money and time.
yeah, probably, yeah.
But yeah, continue.
But do you shit, I forgot what I was gonna say.
You're saying the console industry is bigger than the mobile industry?
Yeah. And also, I feel like people in the console gaming industry are less patient with taking shit from corporate companies and games sort of messing up.
Yeah. And I guess that's because we're investing more money.
No, of course, yeah. So do you think recently we've seen a turnaround? Because obviously you noticed all the CODs take on this loot box thing, and then in the 2 last recent CODs, I believe they removed them all. Also,
yeah.
EA, is it EA that creates the Battlefront game? Star Wars?
Yeah. So when Disney bought out, I always think of Disney and EA as evil twins. Disney are in control of our industry, and then EA in control of the industry we love as well. So that's great. But yeah, EA, I believe, work in conjunction with Disney, and they basically control the gaming side, because obviously Disney know nothing about games, more or less. But yeah, that was that big scandal about Star Wars Battlefront 2, in that they had loot boxes just like many other games, except the only thing is they didn't have just I think it wasn't just loot boxes, it was items that you were able to pay for with money in the game. And basically it meant if you had loads of money, what it meant is that you could upgrade your things, your like characters and like vehicles in the game, so that they would perform better. So like, for example, starfighters were the best example, in that you could get upgrades, right, that would mean your guns cool down faster, you fly faster, you can turn better than other pilots, yada yada yada. And it meant if you had loads of money, you could get those upgrades way quicker than everyone else, and you just own the field, man. You just own the field, and that is called pay. That's called pay. It's called pay to win, and it's hated in gaming. It's called paying to win.
Example, which like a few people will relate to this if they play the game, but in my opinion,
I love the way you put your leg up when you said that.
I've set up survival maps, solo ones, on Minecraft before, survival, and I've been grinding it out, and I'm like, yes, this is cool, and I actually have like a dedication to it, and I'm feeding.
Yeah, you've invested time.
It feels different. It feels special. And then before you know it, something happens. I might die and lose a few things, and get a bit pissed.
Yeah, and you don't want to play it anymore. You lose all interest.
No. What I do is that I'll go on creative and get that stuff back.
I see.
But then before you know it, you've done it once, so you do it again. And you give yourself more. Before you know it, you've fucked it, and you've got this unlimited stuff, and you're basically on a creative.
Exactly.
So therefore, you lose it. You lose the kind of. You can't say, when I built that was a really tough experience. I did that or anything. You basically can't say.
It takes away all challenge and achievement.
Do you remember the classic thing, like in like classic games where like someone would roll up in a special helmet or something, and that helmet meant they completed a certain mission.
Exactly.
That was a flex.
And like to get the higher booster armor in Halo 3, you had to get all the skulls. Exactly.
Instead of someone rolling up and you're like, well, they've paid for all of that. It's so much cooler.
Yeah.
Because also, you almost like, if we're talking about like in-game stuff now, you also come across maybe as more of a threat, because if you've
it means you've invested the hours and you're probably better.
Yeah, exactly. You're probably better. Exactly that. But no, that going back to the Star Wars thing. Sorry, they sorted that out, didn't they? Like,
Yeah, basically
loot boxes.
people were just outraged about it, completely not happy with it, and they were like, "Oh geez, sorry, our bad," and got rid of it. So now you can't pay your way to win. You have to play to play. You have to play to win, not pay to win. The only thing you can pay for now is cosmetic items, which is how it should be. I mean, do you know, like, I may get very angry with it sometimes, but that's only because it's a very skill-based game, and when you care about a game and it's very skill-based, very competitive.
I know what you're gonna say.
I'm gonna talk about Siege, man. I'm gonna talk about.
Fucks.
I'm not gonna push it on anyone that it's no game fits all players, but do you know? Forget about the fact that I enjoy playing the game, right? One of the things I love about Siege, and it's funny because there's so many games that Ubisoft make, and I think, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why? Like, but Ubisoft, the team that makes and maintains Siege, they're actually brilliant. Like, and it's probably because it's very competitive esports.
They do.
Like sometimes we complain about how long they take to fix certain things, but compared to other games, they do it pretty quick, and usually they're pretty big problems that are hard to fix. But they're always updating the game, and they always fix the problems. They're always nerfing and buffing characters to try and balance them. They often completely rework maps to make them more like fair to both sides and competitive. And I don't know.
Yeah.
They just seem to care about the game, like long after it was finished, if you like, in quotation marks.
Yeah.
And it's I think one of the reasons why it shines so much to me is because from the past couple of years, at least the past 2 or 3, whilst I've been at uni, it's a gem, because I don't see many games, at least not many multiplayer games, that are cared about anymore.
Are you paying money to not constantly, I mean, but is there an option to pay money towards Siege?
The only thing you can pay for, this is why I thought of Siege, because we were talking about the loot box system with Thingy. No, like, the only things you can pay for in Siege are cosmetics. They have a pack system, so like they have technically loot boxes, but you can't pay for them with real money. And all they give you are cosmetic items, and basically the only sort of way you can.
What do you mean you can't pay for them with real money?
So the only thing you can't just buy packs. You can't just say here. You can't pay for them directly with money, and you can't buy them with the in-game currency, because there's 2 in-game currencies. There's Renown and R6 credits, and the R6 credits you can't even buy packs with that. You can only buy a booster, which gets you Renown more quickly, but there's like no need. But yeah, I just think Siege is super fair, and the people that play it, like, it has a large fan base and it's very popular. Like, it's done right, and it's fair for your money. And they even have a cheaper version of the game, where the only difference in it is that the operators, because you have operators and you have to buy them with in-game money. You can buy them with real world money translated into the other credits, but the only difference is the operators are more expensive, so it takes you a bit longer to unlock them, but the game is cheaper for you. So it's like they're so, and they're even talking about making Siege free soon, possibly.
Siege 3?
Free. FREE.
Oh.
Free to play.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, when did fucking Siege 2 come out? I was like,
No. But yeah, they're talking about making it free to play at some point in the future.
That's interesting. But does that mean they might change it?
Well, the thing they're worried about is people making hacking and griefing and all that increasing, because you no longer have to pay to make a new account.
Interesting.
So they got to get around that problem before they make it free. But anyway,
Why would they make it free though? Because then that means they're losing money.
Well, not necessarily, because it's been out for a lot of years now, and I think I guess they think that they've probably peaked in their sales of the game. So if they make it free, it will boost the player base way more, and those players will be more likely to spend money on the stuff you can buy in game, like the renown boosters, and you can buy elite skins.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, people will buy the cosmetics. Oh, you're standing up. Do you want to go for a drive?
Yeah, sure.
But yeah. Anyway, we're circling back to how we were talking about the mobile games and how we were talking about how GTA it kind of seems scandalous and controversial in the way they kind of encourage people to spend money on shark cards, but actually what they've done is make a great game that makes you want to buy in-game money. Yeah, so if it's your choice. To
be honest, I can't really moan about GTA considering I am sitting here playing it right now. So
exactly.
But what I was gonna say is sticking on to the I'll come over to you, so just wait there quick.
Yeah.
Staying on the topic of GTA is something else that I feel the gaming industry has changed with, and I don't know, like I'm interested to hear your opinion. And it's basically how GTA a few years ago, in my opinion, was a completely different franchise to what it is now, in terms of the fact that it used to be a lot more violent, it used to be a lot more sexual, and things like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not someone who's like, oh, I've got to have a fucking scene in a game.
Yeah.
But when you've grown up playing certain games, you notice when they change. And you think, oh, why is that? Because GTA was always infamously known for being a controversial game.
Yeah.
So why do they want to lose that image? And also another example, which me and Charlie talk about, and I know Charlie's not a big fan of it, is basically years ago when Black Ops 1 first came out, we all played zombies a shit ton.
Yeah,
and you can always remember it was called back then Nazi zombies, and it was
because it started in World at War, which is why because they were Nazis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And in Kina de Totem, there were I can't pronounce it by the way, but what's the Nazi symbol called? The
swastika.
Yeah. That was everywhere. Like all the flags were in the theatre.
Yeah, because it was appropriate.
And it was historically accurate, and it added the.
I actually loved World at War. It was one of, I think I have two favourite CODs, and it was one of my favourites because the campaign was outstanding, and as well as the multiplayer and zombies being fun.
Don't get me wrong, you only have to have a horde of zombies running at you, knowing that if they kill you, your game's over and you've got really far, and that's enough to put you on edge.
Yeah, man.
What they did with the historical accuracy of old zombies was what also added to the freakiness of it, because you're like, holy shit, like this feels horrible.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be pretty scary. When I was younger, anyway. And then
especially when
they released
they
released the pack on Black Ops 3, which had all remastered old maps on it, and Kina de Totem was one of them, and they've changed it all. So there's no Nazi symbols now. They've changed.
Oh, I never noticed that.
They've changed it to like an eagle, and it's still associated.
Yeah, because it's meant to be the German eagle.
Yeah, just the German eagle, which I don't really get. Surely that's more offensive, because surely Germany don't want to associate themselves with the Nazis. That's not a reflection of modern Germany. So when you have a game that's based about like this crazy Nazi German scientist that created zombies, why the fuck would you put the German eagle there instead of the symbol that
I mean,
separates itself
I mean the
from
Nazi.
good Germany?
Yeah.
It seems stupid.
Well, the
But
Nazi
my question,
swastika was
like, and
often
then you can answer
mixed
that.
with the eagle anyway.
Yeah, true.
So,
But,
like,
my question is that, do you think, as the world changes, because we're living in a very like PC world nowadays, I think we're living in a world where
we're living.
it's
Yeah,
seen as controversial
this is what we were
way
talking
more
about
than
with the
they
Doctor
used to.
Who thing earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like companies in particular, because money's involved,
Like BBC.
they worry about
Yeah.
offending certain groups and things like that.
Yeah.
So do you think games are being affected by that?
Absolutely.
And do you think that that's an issue, like not really an important, but to game
I know. I think it's
that
important.
have a passion for it?
I think it's
Yeah,
important
do
to
you think
everyone.
it's
Like, it's not
possibly
world hunger.
ruining games.
Yeah, like there's so many things that are important that next to world hunger don't seem important, but that doesn't.
Yeah.
They're different issues, so it is important, I think. But I think yes.
Self-ride.
I think I think yes, it is. I think yes, it is affecting the gaming industry. Yes, I think the companies are worried about stuff. To be fair, like EA, they're like super like, you know how Disney, and you know how I consider Disney and EA the same but in different industries. The only difference is that Disney do some shady stuff sometimes, but I think they try extremely hard to be family friendly. Whereas because in the gaming world
100%.
you don't have to be, I feel like EA don't care as much about that stuff. But still, like in regards to the exact point you just made, I too disagree with the whole swastika thing, because I don't, even though it's on a game that's not set in World War, everyone knows their World War maps, and like I think it was just
one is, I think.
Yeah, they are. I think they were just sweating. I'm going off the cliff here a bit.
Oh no, it's fucked it.
I think they were just sweating under the collar a bit and thought, oh, okay, lads, let's play it safe.
Yeah, I just don't get it though. I mean, maybe I should have done a bit of research before. Asking the question.
We can just
because
talk
I'd
about
be interested to know. Yeah, I'd be interested to know that if during the release date of the original Black Ops, if there were loads of complaints about the symbols, but we were unaware because obviously we were younger and we didn't follow it as much back then.
Yeah.
But I'd be interested to know if there was actually complaints. What are you doing? Have you fucked your car?
It's stuck. I'm just gonna get your car.
Okay. Yeah, like if kids were playing like that and like a parent came in and was like, hang on a minute, why is my very good, sensible son playing swastikas on?
Are you pretending to be Alison?
Complain about it.
I don't know why I said Alison, my mum.
Alison, no. Well, did she used to complain about that now?
No, but well, finish your point and then we'll dive into that pool.
Well, no, yeah, I know. I just meant, is I wonder if that was the case, or if there was literally no complaints and the company.
Do you know what? There wouldn't have been no complaints.
Oh, it's
there wouldn't have been no complaints.
What's
Activision or Treyarch?
Activision. Treyarch. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if they just took it upon themselves, literally, to change that.
I don't know. They may have took it upon themselves a little bit, but I also don't think there'd be no complaints. Otherwise, they wouldn't. I don't think they'd give a damn, because like, the maps were made like that for a reason before. And,
so you're saying there weren't complaints, or there was?
I don't think there were at all. To be honest. Okay. No, sorry. I'm saying I think there were at least some, because.
Okay.
Because like,
I mean, I imagine there was. Knowing this world, there probably definitely was a few. But,
there were.
Yeah.
Because think about first, like how the media has constantly said, games are violent. Games are violent. They cause violence. They make kids violent. Blah 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 blah, and all that stuff.
Oh,
so,
let's get into that. Let's get into that in a sec.
Firstly, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm really
Well,
fucking
actually,
passionate about
I can segue into that with my
Okay.
mum. So.
With your okay.
Not in a
Segue into it with that.
not in a negative way towards my mum at all. But basically, when I was a kid, my mum, like many, was cautious about what games I could play. Although to be fair, I think she was generally. You're going to take us into a train, man. Oh, nice. I think I think my mum was generally, on the whole, pretty relaxed about it. It was just more like if it had an 18 on the box, she'd say either no, you can't have it, or no, you can't play it. But the thing is that, of course, my dad would buy the games for him.
And you would play them.
I'd play them maybe when like mum was out or like not around or something.
Yeah.
For example, Dead Space and Fear 2 were two games that I managed
Fear 2, fuck.
Yeah, man. But I managed to get around it. With Gears of War, because they did a nifty little thing. I don't know why I just said nifty. I'm not American, or I don't know. It's weird. I've never said that in my life. They did a cool thing, which I completely agree with, because like with the thing they did, you get to keep the artistic choice, but also just make it completely accessible. So what they did with Gears of War, I don't know if it's on every single one, but it's definitely on the first one. It's obviously an 18 rated game, but what they did is they had a setting where you could turn the swearing off and all the blood and gore. So you could play the game
that's interesting.
without that stuff, which then essentially made it maybe a 15 at the most, maybe less, because there's no swearing, and yeah, you can still chainsaw someone, but there's going to be no blood or gore.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's still violent, but I mean, you've got a gun, you're shooting at like aliens, or whatever they are. The game's about violence.
Yeah, you know, one of my earliest memories of like experiencing something like that with my parents was I used to go around like my mates' houses and stuff, and like my cousins who were older, and they'd have like GTA on their PlayStation, and I'd be like, holy shit, like this game's sick. And I'd think about it, and I wouldn't think about all the crazy stuff you can do. I literally just thought about, I just want to drive, like I just want to drive and
exactly
in that
like
game.
When I wanted to get GTA,
so I
wasn't thinking about strip clubs.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, Mum, like I would really love it. Anyway, I couldn't get it, but I had a PSP, and my mate let me borrow Vice City on PSP, and because obviously like PSP discs are like smaller, easier to hide. Check my PSP. So like, I had it, and then one day she noticed, and she was pretty pissed, but she sort of like let me carry on playing it.
I could imagine that.
Say if I played it for like 30 minutes, which if I were to play GTA for 30 minutes now, that's like nothing. But she used to say like, you need to get off that, like you've been playing that violent game for too long and stuff. And I think it's interesting. I suppose we've waffled a bit. This is one of our things, because I suppose.
Yeah, man, I always go from tangent to tangent.
No, I'll tell you what.
But we've switched subjects.
Also wrapping up that one. But that's what I was going to wrap up. Is that? Yeah. Listen to this. Is that? Is that? Fucking hell. Yeah. We grew up with the games as how they were. Yeah, they were violent. Yeah, there was probably a bit of like sex in it.
So you didn't have to
stuff
be.
Like that.
You didn't have to go.
No, but also look at us now, mate.
Exactly.
We're not in prison. We're not machete wielding psychos.
Yeah.
So actually, it didn't affect us. So therefore, going back to how games are, what's the word? Concealing things.
Yeah.
Changing them. is, you know, is.
And it
know,
takes the
what's
choice
point?
away. It
I've
takes the
got
choice
another,
away,
I've got
man.
another point. It takes the choice away, but I've got another point. Is it more like, say if you have a game that's actually really realistic, yeah? You pick up a chainsaw and you attack someone with it in a game and you see what happens, yeah, and it's realistic and it's fucking brutal. If you've got a sane mind,
you would be,
you know,
horrified
most people
by that.
do. Yeah, you'll be like, holy crap, that's horrible. Like,
I've got
a
point for that.
Yeah. Why would you ever want to do that in real life? But my point is that if you make your game semi-unrealistic and like cartoony or something, but it's like still involving chainsaws and shit,
it normalizes.
But it's not. Yeah, but it's not as violent. Does that then mean some kid's gonna play it at a really young age and not understand the consequences of doing that in real life?
Yeah. Do you know what? I think.
Do you think of that?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, but I also think that generally it doesn't necessarily matter either way. Because I just think if you like parent your kid right, and just give them lots of attention, you know, do all the normal things.
Call your car.
Yeah. You're tired of having me in yours. Do all the normal things. They can still play those games and be fine and understand them. That being said, I think maybe your 4-year-old, like, I think there are limits. Maybe your 4-year-old probably shouldn't play Dead Space or GTA 5. You know, like, I think there are age limits, but I also think that you do not have to be 18 years old to play GTA. And just, I got 2 points. Firstly, with the one that you were just talking about, I had an experience the other day where I was playing as I turned my radar off, so I don't know where my car is. I was playing the GTA campaign, and I was doing that torture scene where you're a Trevor and you have to torture the guy to get information to do the sniping thing, and I was trying to use the least like damaging torture weapons on the guy because I genuinely felt bad for him. And like, so that just shows that, like, and to be fair, like, if I had used the other stuff, like, it wouldn't have bothered me. But it just shows that it's like, it's not a big deal in that you can like kind of bypass.
Do
that
you
stuff.
Remember the state of the what?
I thought you were going to bring up the airport mission in MW2.
That's what I was gonna. Yeah, that's what I was gonna.
That you could bypass
do you remember the state of like the media when that came out? Like, that made headlines, man.
Yeah, man.
And I'm
it
pretty
stopped
sure
me
that
from being able.
scene that you're talking about did.
Yeah. The annoying thing, like, I wouldn't take away the airport scene now. Without sounding like a psychopath, it's quite interesting and I won't say enjoyable. I'll say it's a fun part of the campaign. It's a fun part of the campaign, but also, you know, no one's condoning the mass shooting of innocent, you know, airport goers, you know, people, you know, ordinary lovely people. But at the same time, it's just a game. It's not real. No one, or hopefully
also,
no one, is living some sick fantasy
of
it.
Straws here, but also those games are sort of like they were semi-educational as well.
Yeah, because if you think about it, that's educating vaguely on terrorism.
Yeah, terrorism, but also the wars that game touched on. The previous one, like the first Modern Warfare, were realistic conflicts that could very much happen in our world.
Similar ones have happened.
So why is this? Yeah, and it's like, so why is this happening? And like, my dad would explain why certain countries have a history of friction between others and stuff.
Exactly,
like
exactly. It brings up talking points that you wouldn't otherwise talk about with your parents.
Exactly.
And you know,
if it's like silly shit like what Black Ops 4 and 3
oh my god, yeah,
where it's some unrealistic cyber bullying,
Cyberbullying.
That doesn't bring up any talking point because it's like, well, that's not real.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that happens in Modern Warfare, it does happen, and will
and has
continue
happened.
to happen in our
Yeah.
world.
And
Yeah,
do you know
exactly.
what? Like, that's I have some like what's the word? Like I don't know, I'm basically I really love the Second World War. Like, I think it's amazing. I
Yeah.
think part of it was because from growing up in Russia, but I think even before that I loved it. I think it's because I
Again.
played. Oh yeah, sure. I think it's because I played the old Call of Duties, which were all about the Second World War. I think it's because of the films I've seen. I think it's the history I learned in school. Like, especially when I went to Russia, I fell in love with Russia and their culture and their kind of personality in that. And that's one of the reasons why I love Call of Duty World at War. But
Did you
anyway.
ride about on a polar bear naked?
Yeah, that's that. That picture of Putin's actually me, and then they airbrushed it into Putin.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, I shouldn't walk away from my microphone. I'm like standing up to talk, and then I realise I'm walking away from the mic.
Well, it's getting serious.
No. But anyway, going back to the point I was going to make earlier. The you know how you said, look at us, we're not crazy criminals murdering people. I'd say the only difference playing these sorts of games and watching those sorts of movies has done for me, and you never know, we will never know perhaps, but maybe if I hadn't watched those things I'd still be the same, and played those things I'd still be the same. But I'd say the only difference it's made for me is that I find it's a lot harder to horrify and scare me when I'm watching like intense movies and and those sorts of games.
I think that's because that's because you have the mindset, and similar to me, you have the mindset of that you are fully aware that it's not real.
Yeah,
so that is
because
what
what I was gonna say is that I don't think that if anything even like a tenth as scary or intense happened in real life, I don't think I would be a stone wall against it. I think I'd react normally like any other person. Because like it's like how, do you remember when we went to Tully's Farm? And I was sad that it wasn't scaring me.
For the sake of the viewers, it's a temporary park where you walk through certain attractions.
It's a farm that at Halloween becomes a horror farm.
Yeah, and actors jump out at you and try and make you scared and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a bit of boating. Won't crash into anything. So yeah, and you there's like I won't call them rides because you walk through them yourself normally. But there's attractions.
Yeah, they're like attractions.
And there's attractions where they like, it's really well done. They they have paid actors that dress up in various scary costumes, clowns and murderers and zombies and all sorts of that sort of thing. It's really good.
It's all the it's literally like what you're describing is like how when you're younger you could be scared of the dark, but the older you understand that the dark, it's just dark.
Exactly.
Like, there's not going to be a monster in your cupboard and stuff like that. So it's the same as when you go to an event like that, you know the terms and conditions, you know they can't touch you, you know they're actors, you understand the concept of acting,
which is
but
appreciative.
When you're younger, like, you don't.
Yeah,
you don't understand.
Like when you're younger, you know, but you forget, like in the moment, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're really young and you generally fear for your life.
Yeah, don't get me wrong though. There are people who do take these kind of fantasies and cartoon things that games and films and all of that portray, and they take it seriously. But in my opinion, that's not the fault of the game. So it's almost like
no, of course not. Of course
gaming
not.
Topic a little bit. Quentin Tarantino, an amazing director, one of my favourites.
Yeah.
He's known for his extreme violence in his films, like
Yeah, like
Over the Top.
Clockwork Orange was his, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it?
No, that's Stanley
No, it wasn't. Oh, sorry, yeah.
Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction and stuff.
There's one I was thinking that was
Django
really...
Unchained.
Was there not one that was banned? I know Clockwork Orange was. Maybe I was just confused and thought that was...
Yeah, Clockwork Orange is banned, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's Stanley Kubrick's.
Yeah, but Django
yeah.
Unchained is incredibly bloody and violent.
Yeah, exactly. And whenever he has a new film coming out, the question comes up time and time again, is he inspiring people to go out and do the same? Is he glamorising
Which is a
violence?
silly question.
And are games inspiring violence? And in my opinion, if you genuinely look at something and in a film or something like that and you think, I want to go out, like when I see a cool action scene involving guns or something in a film, I think that would be sick to make, that would be sick to film. But if you sit there and think that would be sick to go and do, I want to do it in real life, then I'm sorry, you were born with an issue way before
you've suffered from something way worse than simply media.
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like, you've got to have a screw loose way before anything like that.
Yeah, and when I play war games and stuff like that and see war movies, like you say, oh, that'd be sick to make. But I'm gonna go one step further into the fog than you are, and so I say I think it's awesome. Right. It looks sick. I love like the chaos, the sound, the bullets whizzing past. Because I'm gonna get close to the knife here and say that humans, or a lot of people, I'd say, especially men, because of testosterone and like I think it's a genetic thing with fighting and stuff. With boys play fighting and things. Humans love conflict, but of course, people like that have kind of developed, and we're now all. I'm trying to think, civilized, I guess, or like, we know that we don't actually want to beat the shit out of someone. We don't want someone to beat the shit out of us. I want to go and steal from people. People don't. I hope most people don't want to steal from me, and we don't want to go out murdering people. But like, I think humans have that natural tendency towards violence and war. And it's not the only thing. I'm making us sound bad, but that's why war games exist.
I do get what you're saying, but I think we have a
true reference Cortana from Halo Legends when she's like, humanity couldn't escape war.
Oh yeah. I mean, if we want to get like political, then there's always going to be war.
I know what I just said was controversial.
Yeah, but when it comes down to the ordinary like person down the street, I do get what you're saying, but I think we fantasize over fantasy violence.
That's what I mean. Fantasize over what I'm saying
when it's in our favour.
Yeah, because
we walk down the street and a bunch of hooded thugs come at us after we've gone and got a kebab. You're going to be put on edge and you're going to shit your pants.
Exactly.
But if you're thinking, I'm Captain America and I can beat anyone up, that's sick. Like, that's because
to link into it, humans fantasize over stories. We love stories, and we like to make stories about ourselves. Yeah, it's like why we love paintball. A lot of people love paintball and airsoft because it gets you close to that kind of world. But you don't have to have all the bad crap. Yeah, and you don't have to get all the bad crap, because when you're shooting people with paintballs and stuff, for me anyway, I'm not thinking, I'm like killing that person, or like it feels like I am. I'm doing, it's fun firing these sort of guns at people, but not in the murderous way. This is sounding really bad, but whatever.
I get what you're saying though, so there's a plain difference between an adult or a teenager understanding the difference between fantasy violence and enjoying that through entertainment.
Yeah. And
it's like, I'll tell you something like a massive exaggeration. It's like the Fast and Furious films and what they've turned into. Like, that shit's fucking ridiculous.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna drive a car off a cliff, thinking that I'm actually gonna land it with all 4 wheels and my neck still intact. Do you get what I mean? Like,
this is the point. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and if you think that, then your parents
Like,
have done, in my opinion, a
bad job.
whilst upbringing you. Like, it comes up.
And do you know what?
Comes down to that even.
And segueing into that, I will defend the media a minute amount on this point and say they're probably not wrong that at least a very few people in the entire world may be inspired to do violence from video games. But, however, I will say that I believe those people are probably already have violent tendencies and are aggressive people.
No, 100%. Well, the point I made earlier, which was that I am not doubting that people are inspired by films and inspired by games. No doubt whatsoever. I reckon it happens a lot. But I don't think it's the responsibility of the people that made the film or the game to censor that just because those people exist. Yeah. I don't think that's a thing.
Because then,
if we did that in every form of media, if we censored everything because we thought people might take inspiration from it,
would be like Nazi Germany.
We'd have nothing. Yeah, like,
because
there comes a point where you sort of just need to. I tell you what that is. That mindset is taking away self-responsibility, which
it's close.
We're going to get real deep. We're getting deep now.
I don't. It's close to propaganda.
This generation. Yeah, but this generation sucks with responsibility,
self-control,
self-control and self-responsibility, man. Like, as soon as something happens, we're the first people to sort of like blame it on something we saw, blame it on that. But it's just like, no, man, like, just take responsibility. Like, and I think that mindset saying that something has sort of inspired them, the media isn't healthy for people nowadays in terms of filmmaking and gaming. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of unhealthy stuff in the media, but in terms of the entertainment industry, in gaming and films, like, I don't think there is. I think you generally need to be a little bit weird to find that stuff. A bit of a turn on or whatnot.
Yeah. Do you know what's
not a turn on in that way? But
I know. Do you know what I just found funny that I just thought of is this genuinely sounds like something you'd hear on the radio in GTA. I mean, I agree. But I guess it doesn't cause too much turmoil. Well, actually, I would say that, but I might take that back. What I was going to say is I guess it doesn't cause too much of an issue, the media banging on about how games are just bad and causing violence all the time. But what it does do is it affects it affects the artistic creativity, the artistic freedom of the game manufacturers, because they think we'll make the game this way. This is our vision. We'll make it this way. And then the media go, controversy, that's bad for young people's minds who this game is targeted at. Can't do that, guys. And then they go, oh god, well, we don't want to lose sales because a lot of our players are gonna have their parents buying this game rather than them buying it themselves. And if their parents hear all this media bad mouthing our game because of these little bits in the game, then we're going to lose sales. So we'll take that bit out or tweak it to make the media happy, and then we won't lose sales. And therefore the game is lessened in quality.
100%. And I think going along that as well, and going back to like our original points earlier, and I don't think I will contradict myself, but going back to the mobile purchases in games and things like that, and how that exploits a certain young generation or whatnot. The thing is, like, don't get me wrong, it could exploit a certain situation, but going with what we were saying earlier, again, it all comes down to the responsibility and parenting. Like, if like I know for a fact, yeah, I'm 20 years old. I'm not gonna have kids anytime soon. But at 20 years old, say if I randomly had a fucking kid, and that kid, oh, I've just fucked this boat, man. And that kid.
Okay, it's a heli.
Yeah, that kid came up to me and was like, "Dad, what's your password? I want to download this game." Mate, I'm getting all the details. I'm finding out what the game is.
Yeah,
looking
man.
at it. And
that
like,
segues into my next point.
If he starts wanting to buy shit, yeah, I'll be like, what's going on? I know. I'm not going to say any names, obviously, because it's going public.
That's
but
fine.
I genuinely know parents that give their kids like passwords to stuff.
Yeah, man.
Where they're able to accept payments or whatnot, and they don't have a fucking clue what their kid's getting into.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that happens everywhere in the world. There are people out there ready to exploit you in every single aspect of your life, and it's all about teaching your kids from a young age that things aren't real.
Yeah.
Money can be taken from these companies, etc.
Yeah.
I don't think my mum and dad ever sat me down and heavily drained this into
No,
me.
mine didn't.
But they taught it
You fly.
just simply. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. And you kind of just learn from experiences.
He's flying us, man.
Yeah, no, I was gonna take him out.
Oh, fair enough.
Go on. I mean, no one look. We're talking about game violence. Just,
no violence in games, kids.
I tapped him with a little bean bag. He's gone to sleep and we're flying away now.
But yeah, do you get what I mean? Like maybe I got a bit too deep there.
No. I agree. And what I was oh shit, I forgot what I was going to segue into. Wait, what was the thing you said when I said I was going to segue into something?
That
shit.
how we spoke earlier about being exploited. And yeah, that exploitation is there, but at the same time, it's also to do with taking responsibility and parenting. It's to alert your kids.
Parenting. That's what I was going to talk about. Sorry, but yeah, no, I do agree with your points, and that it's really bad how some parents do not just go, yeah, sure. Here's an iPad, here's an iPhone. We've got loads of money. Here's passwords and shit.
It's dangerous. Like,
yeah, because the internet is if you don't put restrictions on, like, you can stumble into some nasty places. But what I was going to say, going away from that side of it,
places that I don't even want to see as a 20-year-old.
Exactly, but you have the maturity and understanding to just know that you don't want to
just
see
click
it.
off it.
Yeah, and you're not going to learn anything bad from it because you already know this stuff, and you accept it as a part of the world. Because when you're like 7 years old, in fact, and like going younger, you're only just starting to actually get a kind of view of the world. You're only starting to grasp stuff. Yeah. So if you get all this stuff jumbled up in there,
depending again on what you're being like exposed.
True, but like from a physiological or brain development point of view,
like
that's
a general
kind of,
point of view. Yeah.
That's kind of when you start to like ground yourself in the world and understand things a bit more realistically. What I was going to say to you is, at some point, say when you had a kid, right? Say it was a boy, and I'll say when I have a kid, I'll say it's a boy as well, just for the sake of it's kind of, because we've got our perspectives from how our dads treated us with games. So,
and we're both males,
Yeah. So, if you had a kid, or when you have
are you a male? Is that okay? Is that the right pronoun to use for you?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay, cool.
What about? Are you good? Are you boy?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Cool. You got a penis. Very good.
Call me he, him.
He, him, her. Sorry, what?
Yeah. What?
Anyway, so you get a kid. It's a boy.
Kid, yeah.
It's a boy.
Thank you.
Say they're, I don't know, let's say they're 10 years old. Would you
grew up fast.
Forget, I guess we don't know the mum situation. Just forget the what they are, what they think. But
all right.
you see where I'm going. You see where I'm going with this point. What like, do you let them play 18s? Do you play them with them? Do you check out tell me your I was talking about with my dad, and you know what your thing was with your dad, and Dark Souls and that. What's your kind of thing?
I tell you what, my aim, and no, I even add to the point. Even if I had a daughter, my aim.
I'd want to make my daughter a bit of a gamer as well.
Well, yeah, but whatever they were interested in.
Oh yeah, stoke that fire, man.
Balance it. What?
Oh, I thought you were going on a different point. Carry on.
Oh,
Carry on.
No, sorry, no. I was gonna say whatever they're interested in, I would try and balance their upbringing or treat their upbringing just like mine was. So, for example, say if the boy was into gaming or whatnot, I'd expose him to certain things. At the same time
as much as possible
as
that was safe. Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, my earliest scary memory of gaming, which as a kid left me not scarred, because obviously I'm not scarred from it now, but as a kid,
but
I'd lay in bed at night when it was dark and be scary.
It got to you.
Yeah,
it got to you.
Yeah, it was things like the flood in Halo that fucking freaked me out.
Really?
Things like the first mission, mate. When you see them, that shit's freaky as a kid. That really freaked me.
Yeah.
And I used to if my mum and dad went out, or actually no, what was it? Yeah, no. My dad used to work nights, so he'd be asleep upstairs during the day, and my mum would be at work. So I'd be downstairs playing.
You'd be free.
Yeah, but I wouldn't play that mission because I was genuinely scared.
It would freak you out. Yeah.
Of playing it on my own. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that shit wouldn't.
That hasn't. Well, yeah, no, fair enough. Everyone's different, but
no. Okay, yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So going with what you were saying, I'd because I know it did well for me, and don't get me wrong, like I just said, everyone's different. So my own kid would be different to me still, but I'd want to exploit my kid, and not exploit my kid. That's the wrong word. Expose my kid to the same shit.
Turn him into a sweatshop worker. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, watching shows like Doctor Who or whatnot.
Yeah, man.
I'd get them.
Oh my god.
If they were into it.
Oh my
to watch
god.
it at the same age that I watched it.
Yeah, man.
Because I think I watched things like that at the perfect age.
And you know what? I do it in the same fashion as well.
Things.
I do it on the sofa at dinner time with all the fam, just like Top Gear. That's the special thing about those two shows, is that they were communal.
But I tell you what, I know you said you'd want to get your daughter into gaming and whatnot. I wouldn't want to push things too.
Oh no,
just because.
If they absolutely hated
it, I wouldn't. On me. Yeah, but nothing was ever pushed on me. I discovered Doctor Who myself, even though my parents both watched it. They never once brought it up. I discovered it through an advert, and I was like, I want to watch.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I'd want to subtly drop it in so they feel like they've discovered it themselves, but they haven't. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. You know, I often remember a lot of stuff, but I don't actually remember how I started watching Doctor Who. I just know I've always watched it as a kid.
Really, you don't remember?
I don't.
First time watching it.
I know my first time watching it would have been Christopher Eccleston, but I don't remember if I saw the advert for it or if I we watched it on TV because obviously my parents have seen the old Doctor Who's. My dad used to be scared of the Daleks, the old Daleks, and his mum, my nan, would have a go at him because she'd be like, "Oh, don't watch it if you're scared, though." But he was scared of the Daleks and that, and he's scared of Doctor Who sometimes, but he loved it, so he'd kind of watch it from behind the chair, behind the sofa.
Yeah. Real.
Yeah.
Real.
But anyway, going back to your point or whatever, circling back to it, is what I was going to say is I think you and I have both been brought up in a similar way, and it's in a really, really good way, which I'm thankful for, is that my parents have always had a very kind of semi-strict but also easygoing attitude to things. Like, so they keep me on the straight path, but they wouldn't like direct me, or even they'd kind of guide me, or even just sort of like just keep me in the bounds of like kind of correctness, if you like.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
But they would let me experience everything.
Yeah, no, exactly that. My parents went around things of the approach of like, they'd kind of sit me. Say if I said I wanted to do a certain thing or I wanted to see a certain thing, they'd almost like sit me down and like explain what that scenario could do, like blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And if I still wanted
if
to
it was
do
a
it
scary
then,
thing,
as long as it wasn't as long as it wasn't a danger to my life, they'd let me do it.
Yeah.
And then if I didn't like it, they'd be like, "Well, we did tell you," and then I'm not going to do it again, am I?
Yeah, and it's a smart way of parenting, isn't it? It's like, you asked for this.
Exactly.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
And I think that's something we're losing. Like you need that in life to realise what you don't like and what you do.
Like,
you need that in life to realise what's moral and what's immoral and what's normal and what's not, in terms of like fucked up shit. I mean normal.
Yeah.
And, like that's important. That kind of discovery, that self-responsibility, like I was saying earlier. And I think the fact that games are trying to conceal
it's a beautiful thing.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think is a thing.
Exactly.
Don't get me wrong. We're heavy gamers, and we come from a generation that played loads of games.
Yeah,
man. I bet you anything, there are millions of more gamers nowadays than there were when we were younger.
Oh,
because like
doubtless,
kids are playing.
Doubtless, man. It's an industry. I think it is the fastest growing industry in the world. It is.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I think.
Yeah.
I think the fact that these games have like so many future generations sort of eyes on them, I think maintaining that sort of thing it is important, in my opinion.
Yeah, and exactly, and not to step off the subject at hand too much. Just a side note to what we were just talking about. Like, I know people. I know a few people who have young kids, like very babies and young kids, that that they, like, forgive the term, they absolutely baby their babies. They are extremely careful and kind of constantly give all attention. And you shouldn't just ignore babies, but there's a certain amount that you should do, that I believe that I've kind of been not taught, but I kind of believe to be true, because a lot of other people have also, and it makes sense, if you know what I mean. But like, you should you've kind of got to give very young kids tough love, and also you've got to let your kid climb trees and fall out of trees and get bruised, and not wash them too much, so that they get acclimatized to basic germs and things. And you've got to let them touch the world, a bit, because otherwise they are, hang on, I'm getting out of the plane. Otherwise they're too sheltered, they are dependent on their parents, and they're afraid of everything, and they won't do anything. And I think that's exactly what mine and your parents have done right, in that my parents encouraged me to do things that I kind of didn't want to do, or did want to do but was afraid of. Like, encouraged me to climb trees. They always made sure I was safe and told me to be careful, but they let me be at risk enough to understand the world, and also to understand consequences, and also just to not be afraid of stuff and not be dependent on them. But
100%.
Segueing back from that to gaming, is that our main point was that obviously should you let our games dangerous to kids that are, you know, a bit more adult or violent? And no, I think as long as you're smart about it, they're not, and you shouldn't
Well,
just
the point
flat
was
out.
that, but it was also my question was: are games dangerous if they conceal certain things and make them unrealistic and cartoony? So therefore, you're not seeing the actual reality of things.
I think
Is it? I tell you what, it's a complicated question at the same time.
It is.
Because
It
at the end of
is.
the day, it's a game, so you've got to know that it's not real life.
Exactly.
But
then if
you've
you're
also
immersed
got to realise
enough
that.
and you're a
Yeah,
kid,
yeah.
I think the answer is the same as the opposite of it, in like the opposite spectrum. In that, if it's super realistic, I think the answer is the same, in that it's only dangerous, or it's only bad for you, bad for your child, if you let them do it super young and you don't explain to them. It's like how you just said about your parents saying, if you wanted to try something that was not like, you know, Finding Nemo, you know, and it was a bit more whatever, they would go, okay, we're not going to say no straight away, but what we're going to do is tell you kind of what it's about, what you might feel if you go through with it. And if you still want to go through with it, we'll let you do it in a in a fairly safe environment. And if you come out of it regretting it, well, you made your choice, and there you go. And I think that's the best way to. That's the best way. Yeah, exactly. Good saying. That's the best way to do it. You know, within the bounds of reality. You know, if they say, "Oh, can I have a gun and try and shoot someone?" That's, you know, obviously an extreme. You know,
no, son, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, you've done
Sorry.
that, haven't you? Well done. But I think that covers that point, and we should move on.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's interesting though. I did think of another point earlier, but
if you wanna, I think there was a point I thought of earlier that I've either already covered and forgot that it was the point I was trying to make.
This thing for a sec, if we can't think straight away, just cut this bit, like cut it, us thinking, if that makes sense.
All right. Okay. So the next thing I was going to move on was less about the plight of gaming that we're in at the moment, and more about a subject that has probably been going on for as long as gaming's been around. Well, not as long, but for a long time. And it is about silent and non-silent protagonists. It's a very specific subject. Oh, you've got the bloody mystery van out.
Oh, okay. So now we're not we're going away from the sort of politics of gaming and more.
Yeah, maybe we can segue back to the politics, but I feel like we've covered a fair amount.
No, I get you. Yeah.
You know. So the thing I was going to say, and I can give a few examples in where this has happened, is that I think protagonists that speak, such as we're in GTA right now, you've got Franklin, Trevor, and Michael. They're great. You know, if you get, you know, good lines, good voice actors, good story, protagonists that speak are amazing because it allows you to like be a part of those characters and experience them, and also have the lovely professional voice acting and the story. You're getting to live the story that as it is told. Also, silent protagonists that are also spoken to or not spoken to, I'll give 2 examples, are great. So like, for example, the game Half-Life, you play Gordon Freeman, and you are spoken to by many characters, but you never reply in any form, and the characters just reply either as if you have spoken to them, or they'll just reply it feels natural enough that it's fine, you know. And it's a really good, like, the story is amazing and the gameplay is great. It's a very much loved game, so that works. And then but the problem I have, the reason I've raised this subject is it's a pet hate of mine when a game is made and then they change when they jump to the next game and make the next game. They change it so that the protagonist is no longer silent, even if it's a different character, because And my example would be Subnautica, right? I know you've not played it, but Subnautica.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to give a different example. To be fair.
What, Halo?
No, well, Halo was going to be one that I was going to say, yeah, but Fallout as well.
Oh yeah, Fallout. But then we'll get into that in a minute, actually, because Halo Reach links in with that.
If Sam watches this far into the thing, then we'll know, because the minute we bring up Fallout,
he'll
he's going to be like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. So Subnautica, brilliant game. It's really popular.
It does look quite good.
The story is really good, and you play as a silent protagonist, and you never actually there's only a couple of points where you actually get talked to, because most of the voices you hear are pre-recorded messages from dead survivors, of a previous crash, right, onto the planet. There's only a few times where you actually get talked to by a person, like kind of live, if you like. Brilliant. Little bit of music.
Oh, can you hear that music?
Yeah, it's right.
Oh, that's enough.
No, it's fine. But anyway, so yeah, that is really good. That was the point. But then, so they're starting to make Subnautica 2 now, which is Subnautica Below Zero, which is on a different planet. It follows the events of the next one. It's a sequel. But cool. You play a different character now, but she now has a sort of side character that she speaks to frequently, and she has a voice, which is fine, only that in the previous game you didn't have a voice, and a couple of people, including myself, have kind of had a problem with this, because the point of a silent protagonist is which they did in Halo Reach, which we can also talk about with Fallout, which will get Sam's blood boiling, maybe, is the point of a silent protagonist, right, is so that you can imprint your personality onto the character, because it gives you, that character has no voice, and sometimes even, a lot of the time, even no thoughts, so it allows you to basically play as if it's almost yourself, which kind of gives you more immersion sometimes. Right?
Yeah.
And then if it's a non-silent protagonist, it doesn't take away from the immersion necessarily, but it's a totally kind of different thing. But then switching between them, like how Master Chief suddenly started to, because Master Chief always talked in cutscenes but never in gameplay, which worked, and then they started making him well, 343 started making him talk in gameplay, which just
make my blood boil.
It just felt weird. It broke the immersion because it's not what we were used to, and especially when it's something so loved like that, people really hate changes like that. And I guess with Fallout, in Fallout 3 you're completely silent protagonist, except you still have the choice responses like you do in Skyrim as well, but then when you get to Fallout 4 you have the choice responses but your character actually speaks, which takes away from the fact that it's a character that you make. It's meant to be someone that you're trying to be. It's a character you're trying to become for a while, if you like, isn't it? And that's what Halo Reach was about when they made Noble 6 silent protagonist, but they went even further, and they didn't just make him silent protagonist, but they gave him as little background as possible, so that you could fill his shoes completely, basically, almost.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a long rant. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah, no, I fully agree, to be honest. I don't really know the meaning why they would want to go down...
changing it.
Yeah, changing it. I suppose maybe they want to go, like, I'll take Subnautica, for example.
Yeah.
Maybe because the story in the first one is quite vague and simple, so it allows you to just have your own character that doesn't say much. But in this second one, maybe they want to develop that story further, so they feel the only way they can really do that in a game that doesn't have much cutscenes is to have characters having more dialogue.
Yeah.
So I understand that, but no, I agree with you. I think
Yeah, it is a
it's
story
an
choice.
awesome thing, and is part of the immersion of being able to imprint your own personality into the thing. But like I said, it depends how it's done. So like,
Yeah.
for example, in games like Halo, it doesn't work because Master Chief's persona is very much like it's already established by like
it's already a rule.
Just the story. Yeah, and like, so therefore you don't really put your personality on it, but the fact that he never used to reply in game allowed you to just it's a thing that only gamers really understand, but you feel it within, you feel your response. Do you know what I mean?
And do you know what
if you hear him respond, go.
I was going to say, do you know what as well is that like Halo players will know this, is that Master Chief is often considered the strong silent type, and then he opens up occasionally in cutscenes to speak a bit more for exposition.
It takes away from
so when you're walking along, like Halo 4 and that feels so scripted with the quick time events, you know, like when you throw that elite
and
down
also like he's kind of emotional in Halo 4 in terms of like he's asking fucking questions like, should we be worried about this? And it's just like, mate, you're Master Chief, you don't worry about anything.
And the player should be thinking that, shouldn't they? If that is the case. Yeah,
100%.
It's like how go on.
Yeah, no, like if the game is telling you to be worried, you're not going to be worried. Like it shows confidence and great storytelling within a game if you just let the player feel that urgency themselves without being told that a situation is dangerous and whatnot. So no, I agree, but my other example is that when you have a one-off character, so Master Chief, like I said, was established for years, so suddenly changing him to talking during gameplay doesn't work in my opinion.
No.
And also that's just not really a Halo style, so therefore it feels out of place. But Rockstar obviously made Red Dead in 2018 and brought Arthur Morgan, and hands down, I love Halo, I love GTA games, but hands down, I genuinely mean this, Arthur Morgan is the best protagonist I've ever played at.
Oh really?
Game. I swear to you. Yeah, but because he was a one-off character, like we had never seen him before, even though he
brand
spoke
new
for himself, you still could portray your personality on him, because
you can choose to be good or bad.
You can choose to be good or bad, and also you can choose what to say, and I don't know, they just did a fucking good job. And like my Arthur was so different to other people's that I like. You'd look up walkthroughs on YouTube or whatnot, and even the look would look dramatically different. And like the way he acted,
how his hair gets
was
all messy
different
over time, and you have to keep it trimmed yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they did a fantastic job of that. So even though he was speaking, they literally allowed you to
it's
just
the
change
player's
Arthur
voice through him.
Wanted.
He's your voice. He's your mouthpiece rather than just someone you're listening to.
It's basically like picking up a toy when you were younger and talking through that.
And I can think of another example. Sorry, although before I say that, the point I was going to make a minute ago was that when you were talking about Master Chief saying like, "Oh, should we be worried about this?" kind of stupid thing. In script writing, we're taught that the audience is cleverer than you think. They can work stuff out. You shouldn't. Do not explain stuff to them all the time. Because,
spoon feed them.
Because some people don't get it, but then those people should pay more attention. You know, like it's.
Well, if they don't get it, then they're not your target audience.
Exactly, that's their fault. But like, you know, as long as things make sense to you, it's fine. You know, more or less, unless you're a crazy person. But I can think of another example, which was I know you've not really played it, but Dishonored. I love Dishonored. It's brilliant.
No, I've played that.
Oh, you have? I love Dishonored.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I love the world. I love the characters. I think the art style. Like I love Dishonored. And Corvo is a silent protagonist in it, right? Then they made Dishonored 2, and I still love the world design, but they let you choose between playing as Emily or Corvo, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But they made Corvo, they did the same thing as they did with Master Chief, in that they literally made him speak like all the time. They'd make him speak to himself, which is another thing in script writing. So here, I'll tell you. Another thing in script writing is that my lecturer hates when people make characters talk to themselves. And sometimes
I fully agree with that.
Sometimes I dispute that with her, but that's because I'm weird and I talk to myself all the time.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, you relate to that. Yeah.
But I do get what she means, especially from a TV and movie point of view. And it's that Corvo, he'll say really like he'll look at things and you'll hear his thoughts. So he'll be like I don't know, he'll be like, oh, got to do something about that. Kind of not as simple as that, but you know what I mean. Like he'll look at stuff and explain it to him to the and I don't know if that's
to the player.
Yeah, I don't know if
that's really old school gaming. Like, do you remember those old Lord of the Rings games when you'd go up to a door and it would be locked, and the character would just be like, it seems this door is locked.
Yeah, and that was kind of comical.
And then you literally, and then you click the button 2 seconds later, and he's like,
oh crap.
Later, and just repeats the same line. Like, that's some old school shit right now.
My bloody. Damn. Sorry everyone, changing batteries.
I can't hear you, Alex.
Hang on. Hello? Sorry, my controller ran out of batteries very suddenly. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, sorry, my controller ran out of batteries very suddenly. But yeah, no, I get what you mean, and it is hilarious now. Oh, he just mugged you off, man.
He's coming after me. Come on, then.
Go on.
Hang on. Be right back.
It's just.
Anyway. Oh, what? Go on then.
God. Right.
Just got in the back, man.
Go for it. Go have a party. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't much else to say on that matter, I guess, from me. It's genuine. Like, to be fair, I've been playing Subnautica Below Zero, the second one, a bit more now, and I don't.
Oh, is it out?
It's out, but it's in alpha, like early access, so it's not finished yet. It's sort of like you can play it because a lot of games do that not only to bug test, but it allows them to get money whilst developing the game from people that want to buy the game as early access, but they understand that it's not finished yet. So I've played it a fair bit. I think I've logged about 7 hours into it without it being like even nearly done yet. But it's still pretty fun. But I do actually like the protagonist having a voice. But the only reason I didn't like it at first is because it was a change. It was a different because it wasn't just like it like different games do it different ways. But another great thing that's good about having a silent protagonist, especially in a game like Subnautica, is that it helps the player feel alone, because in Subnautica your ship crashes, you crash in this escape pod, there's no other people, right, and you're trying to figure your way, you're trying to survive and figure out what happened and so on and so forth, and it's a scary game. There's like big monsters around and stuff, as well as all this other things, and the soundtrack and the audio is great. and having a silent protagonist just helps you feel like, holy shit, I'm out here alone. And then if you play it like in a dark or in VR with headphones and shit, it's great.
You know what the biggest crime against humanity would be? Is if they made your character in Minecraft speak.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's another thing. I mean,
imagine that.
Minecraft is like one of the furthest games you can get from a story in terms of the original Minecraft. So like it would make zero sense for your character to speak anyway. But yeah, like I get it. If you were trading with a villager and it just went, "What do you have for sale?" It would be like, "Oh my god, uninstall now," wouldn't it? It'd be like, "Get off my hard drive now."
And when you made the sale, he was like, "Thank you."
Yeah, it would. Oh, you know, that would be grounds grounds of treason.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, like I'm starting to warm up to the protagonist having a voice in Subnautica Below Zero, but it was the fact that it works so well, and I genuinely most of the time have a pet hate of when game developers make another game and change it to the opposite.
Yeah. I've just thought of my point that I wanted to make ages ago.
Go for it.
We forgot.
Yeah, let's segue
and
back.
It's a really good one. That really pisses me off.
Yeah.
And maybe this could be our final point, just so it doesn't go on for too long.
Yeah, man.
But what's your opinion on the fact that this is another new craze that's coming into the game industry, and in my opinion, I fucking hate it.
Right.
And it's the fact that they've started releasing games that are unfinished, and you pay full price for them, and they remain unfinished for quite a long time, and then they're buggy as shit for a long time.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah, and there's hardly any features that were also possibly promised at launch. And then like a year later, you finally get certain features. So for example,
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky, I haven't personally played that, but for an example, I have played. When the trailer came out for Sea of Thieves,
yeah.
I was all over that. That shit was sick.
So was I.
The trailer showed so much, and then I think they revealed like a week or a month before it was due to come out that some things would be added in later due to how they wanted it to perform
that's
on launch,
a bit shady.
No, but that that kind of made sense, because I thought that's kind of what GTA did with GTA Online. So I was like, 2 weeks in, a month in, they're gonna let us have it. A year later, mate, features weren't in the game.
Yeah.
So I was like, I pre-ordered it as well, and I was like, I paid 60 odd quid for a game that doesn't have certain features that I was sold in the trailer, like, and stuff like that. And I think that's ridiculous. And certain things like PUBG, like I get it, it's one of them it started off as one of them like indie games, but they asked for quite a high price for it, and it's a shitty, unfinished, fucking slow
or
game.
at least on console it is, but even
and I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. But even on PC, if you had, let's say, if you had like a what's the word, like a decent PC, not a fucking armoured tank, like just a decent one, it would probably still run like shit on that.
Yeah.
And I'll give another example that will trigger someone we know. Fallout 76 as well.
Oh my god, I can tell you about that.
Example.
I can tell you about that just before I answer your very big question. Sam made me buy Fallout 76 on PC to play with him, right? he kind of
made you. Did he put a gun to your head?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't hold a grudge. He's one of my good mates, so it's not a big deal. But he kind of encouraged the idea of paying half of it for me, and then when I bought it, it just never happened. But
ooh, that's a snaky move.
But whatever. I played it. I played a fair amount of it with him. But do you want to know is that Fallout 76 is a joke, and to be honest, that won't trigger Sam because he knows it's true and he'll agree, and he probably hates
true.
Bethesda for it. But like, I enjoyed playing Fallout 76 with Sam whilst the unlimited carry weight glitch was about, and then when they fixed it, I didn't play it again.
Oh yeah, I remember you played it a lot.
We had a fair bit of fun, fair few hours of fun on it whilst that glitch was on. But yeah, that's a prime meat example of a big time developer being very shitty. But that's a little bit off point. Well, actually, no, it's not. No, it's not off point. But
I just think I don't know what's happened. Like, I don't know.
My response. Here you go. My response and opinion to your question is that having a PC and console, when games come out unfinished on console, like No Man's Sky did, but No Man's Sky did it for everything, and like Sea of Thieves did, and Sea of Thieves kind of did it for everything as well. It's really bad. Both Sea of Thieves and especially No Man's Sky blatantly made promises that they did not hold up to. But the raw original statement of what do I think about games that come out or that are buyable and playable that are not finished, I don't mind that at all, because I do that a fair amount and have done that a fair amount on Steam, where a lot of games, especially games that aren't made by big companies, and there are some games I've played that have been early access that are made by developers that literally aren't big companies, or they aren't proper companies, and they're making it off their own sweat and blood in their house or in a basement or something. And these games are genuinely good. They're making them because they're passionate about them, and they come out as early access, and people buy them because they want to support and grow that game. That's the kind of early access that I'm used to. In that I'll buy a game because I see the potential and I like to see it grow, and the developer will be with you the whole way, and you can see how viable it is to buy it because you can see all the reviews on Steam.
Like, or whatever it's called, Star. What's it called?
Star Citizen. Star Citizen is an amazing example of that, but except on a much bigger scope. And it's Star Citizen is nuts.
Because they're open about it.
I love it.
They're not telling you when you buy it you're going to get all this shit that isn't in it. So
exactly.
They're open
they're
about the fact
upfront.
that it's still in development.
Yeah, they're upfront about how long it's going to take, or could take even. They're upfront on whether they don't know. They're upfront on when there's delays, and they're upfront on how much money they're getting, more or less, and how much, and like Star Citizen, you could say is more kind of pay to win a little bit because you can buy the ships, but they cost an inordinate amount. But it's just to fund the game, and people buy them. Like, I don't think you'd be too embarrassed about me saying this, but you know Piercy.
Yeah.
I
already know.
Yeah, he spent just under 200 quid on the game, and I've spent 40.
Mad.
I've spent 40. But do you know what? I will support him on this. We both love the game. It's just he's got a bit more,
spend
perhaps.
money on what you want to spend.
Yeah, he's perhaps got a bit more disposable income and just maybe or a bit more disposable income, bit less sense perhaps. But
a bit more in mum and dad's bank account.
Yeah, perhaps. But I genuinely don't. It's great to support games that are being built like that, especially very small ones. Yeah, but
that is a good point.
And I think when it comes to No Man's Sky and Star Citizen it's No Man's Sky and Sea of Thieves cases, they are not
games.
Yeah, they are not games that are coming out on early access to build the game to with the money whilst they're doing it and to bug test. I mean, because those kind of games usually just go into beta for free to bug test you know, before a couple of months before the release.
100%.
They don't go into early access sort of payment things, alpha.
It was like, for example, Halo 5 did that as well. Like that came out with the campaign, and there was like loads of modes and shit that weren't in it. Forge wasn't in it. You had to wait like a month or something. And I just think, I don't know, I just think it's a bit of a piss take, and I almost feel like the positive examples that you just made about like small indie games making coming out like that. I feel like the AAA companies are using them as their excuse to do the same. Well, it doesn't work for AAA companies. They've got millions of pounds and dollars under their belt, and they've got hundreds of workers working for them. So like, what's the issue?
And
get
EA
shit done, get it complete.
And EA likes to crush games like those indie games that if they're important and big enough to buy them out.
And the ironic thing is that those little indie games, if they were given the amount of money a AAA company had,
they would be amazing. They would be beautiful. They would revolutionize. And it's
100%.
And and I think the defining difference is the games that I was talking about. They are early access and out in alpha because they need to be. They're upfront about what they are, and they have a plan of what they want to be. Right, whereas the games like Sea of Thieves, I mean, bear in mind, Sea of Thieves and No Man's Sky both have kind of come through now and kind of made amends now, and are both relatively popular games now. But that doesn't excuse what they did, and the difference is those games, they tell you about features that will be ready upon availability of the game and are flat out not. No Man's Sky was way worse than Sea of Thieves, I think. No Man's Sky was genuine. No Man's Sky genuinely just went, we've got all this stuff, and it was just a blatant lie. It was just flat out not true. Whether they lied when they said it, or they just failed and then just thought, we'll just release the game anyway. I don't know, but yeah, no, those kind of things are inexcusable, really, especially in a professional standpoint of making games. But yeah, that's our. I think we should wrap up around there. I don't know, you got any last points? Harry.
I mean, not really. I mean, obviously, I know we rambled quite a bit, so people managed to connect the dots.
I don't know if I will cut it down or if I should just let it run, because we'll miss out some stuff if I cut it down.
Maybe, cut out the bits where we were thinking earlier, but like when we didn't know what to say. But just keep everything we said. I think that's what a podcast is all about. But I think if people do listen and enjoy it, then obviously please comment down below your thoughts if you have any.
Absolutely.
Also comment your thoughts on the gaming industry yourself.
I'm sorry it was a bit of a negative podcast on the gaming industry. There were some.
Sorry, No, we should actually say
we absolutely
Here we are.
We're just kind of reminiscent of the past. We're worried about what.
But it's also
happening.
like when you're passionate about something.
You do
and
pick
you
out
love something.
It's like how we were criticising Doctor Who earlier because we love it.
Exactly.
You know, I don't care. Like, you know, some crappy TV show, if it gets even worse, we don't care. We don't care about that TV show. You know.
We don't care if Flash season 6 is shit.
Because we don't care about that show. Yeah. No.
It always was shit.
I will always love. I'll always love it.
Yeah. But no, if you have any suggestions for topics in the future, then also let us know. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and
good night, everyone.
If you've made it this far, well done.
Yeah, a special absolute thank you to anyone that is still listening right now.
If you've made it this far,
Jesus.
comment down below.
Comment.
Jesus. Comment down below Jesus, like Alex just said. If
Good God.
There won't be a single comment saying Jesus.
Nah. Maybe on my other account, maybe.
Oh yeah. Make it look like we've got fans, man.
Yeah, make it look like we're popular.
But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I've been Harry.
Yeah, and I've been Alex, and this was the first podcast episode of the Lad Pack, and we hope to do many more on many different subjects. Good night, everyone.
Okay.